blizzard is not just bad weather, it is an atmospheric cage match. When the white wall hits, the temperature plunges, the wind screams like a jet engine, and your visibility drops to zero. In these conditions, the rules of casual hiking are suspended. If you try to fight the storm, you lose. If you try to outrun it, you lose. The only way to survive is to submit to a strict set of protocols that govern your body heat and your psychology. Today, I am giving you the 10 golden rules of blizzard survival. These are not tips, they are mandates. We are going to cover why you must tie yourself to your shelter like an astronaut, the physics of spinning your arms to save your fingers, and how to breathe without freezing your lungs. You need to watch until the very end because rule number 10 is the grand finale. It is a technique called the snow burial. It sounds like a terminal gamble, and if you do it wrong, it is, but in the worst case scenario, letting the snow swallow you is the only thing that will keep you warm. Let's get to work. Number 1, the 10-minute anchor rule. You are hiking and the snow starts falling. The wind picks up. Suddenly, you can't see the trees 50 feet away. Your instinct is to rush, to push forward, to find the cabin or the car. The science of the pain. This is the deadliest mistake you can make. It's called spatial disorientation in a whiteout without visual reference points. Your inner ear cannot tell your brain which way is straight. You will inevitably walk in a spiral. As you push through deep snow, you burn massive amounts of glycogen. You sweat. The wind chill strips that heat away. You will walk in circles until your legs fail, and then you will reach the final point in the fetal position, exhausted. The pro solution: you must override your panic. The moment visibility drops below 50 feet, you stop. Immediately. Do not take another step. You have 10 minutes to set up an emergency shelter tarp, a trench, anything. You anchor down. You are not a hiker anymore. You are a statue. You wait the storm out. It is better to survive in a hole for 12 hours than to reach the end walking in circles for 2. Number 2, the safety tether, the umbilical cord. You have your shelter set up. You need to step outside to pee or grab some firewood you saw 5 minutes ago. The sensory nightmare: you step out into the white void. You take 5 steps. The wind spins you around. You look back and your tent is gone. It's not gone, it's just hidden behind a curtain of white blowing snow. The panic that sets in at that moment is primal. You lunge in the direction you think is home, but you are wrong. People have been found at the end of their line just 10 yards from their tents because they got turned around and couldn't find their way back. The pro solution: treat the blizzard like a spacewalk. You need an umbilical cord. Tie a rope or a piece of placard to your waist, and tie the other end securely to your shelter frame or a heavy tree next to it. Never, ever detach this line. If you need to go out, you go as far as the rope allows, and you hand over hand your way back. If you don't have a rope, you don't leave the shelter. Period. Number 3, the windmill circulation drill. Your hands are numb. You can't feel your zippers. You start rubbing your hands together or blowing on them. The physiological failure: rubbing frozen skin destroys the tissue. Blowing on them adds moisture, which freezes and causes frostbite. The reason your hands are cold is vasoconstriction. Your body has pulled the warm blood into your core to save your heart. Your fingers are literally starving for blood. The pro solution: you need to use physics to force the blood back. This is the windmill drill. Stand up or kneel. Straighten your arm completely. Swing it in a giant, aggressive 360-degree circle as fast as you can. You are creating centrifugal force. This force physically drives the heavy, warm blood from your shoulder down your arm and forces it into the capillaries of your fingertips. Do this 50 times. You will feel a painful throb as the blood returns. That pain is success. It works every time, unlike the method in rule number 10, which requires you to be perfectly still while being buried alive. Number 4, the pee bottle mandate. It is 2 a.m. The storm is raging outside. You have to go. You dread the idea of getting out of your warm sleeping bag and facing the wind. The thermodynamics: if you get out of your bag, unzip your tent, and expose yourself to the gale, you lose about 20% of the body heat you generated over the last 4 hours. You will get the chills and might never warm up again that night. However, if you hold it, your body burns calories keeping that urine warm. The pro solution: you do not leave the bag. You use a dedicated pee bottle. Mark it with tape so you don't mistake it for water or fatal error. Kneel in your bag. Use the bottle, seal it tight, and put it at the bottom of your sleeping bag. It acts as a hot water bottle for a short time, but mostly, it keeps your core heat containment unbroken. It is survival to the pros. Number 5. The CO venting protocol. You dug a snow cave or a deep trench. It's quiet and warm inside. You drift off to sleep. The invisible threat. Snow is breathable, but ice is not. As the blizzard continues outside, fresh snow falls and covers your entrance, or the heat from your body glazes the inner walls of your cave with ice. This seals the room. You and your candle consume the oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. Slowly, silently, the oxygen level drops. You don't choke, you just feel incredibly tired. You go to sleep and your journey ends. This is carbon monoxide or CO2 poisoning. The pro solution: you must be aggressive about ventilation. Take a ski pole or a stick and punch a hole through the roof or the door of your shelter. Do this every 2 to 3 hours. Set an alarm. You need to see daylight or feel a draft. If you wake up with a headache, punch that hole immediately and get fresh air. Air management is critical, especially if you attempt the high-risk maneuver in rule number 10. Number 6. The glaze removal. You've been outside gathering wood. You are covered in snow. You dive into your shelter to get warm. The physics of wetness, that snow on your shoulders and pant legs, is frozen water. The moment you enter the warm microclimate of your shelter, it melts, it turns into water, soaks into your down jacket, and destroys your insulation. Wet down is 0 R value. You have just brought the enemy inside the gates. The pro solution: you stop outside the door. You spend a full minute beating yourself. Clap your hands, brush your legs, take off your jacket, and shake it violently. You must remove every crystal of glaze before you cross the threshold. You want to enter your shelter cold but dry. Never bring the storm inside with you. Number 7. The scarf heat exchanger. The air temperature is minus 20 degrees. You are breathing heavily. Your chest starts to hurt. The biological pain. This is cold-induced bronchospasm. The freezing dry air shocks your lungs, causing the airways to constrict. Worse, every time you exhale, you are breathing out moisture. You are dehydrating yourself with every breath. The pro solution: you need a heat exchanger. Pull your buff, scarf, or neck gaiter up over your nose and mouth. Do not breathe raw air. Breathe through the fabric. The fabric catches the moisture and heat from your exhale. When you inhale, you pull the freezing air through that warm, damp fabric. It preheats and humidifies the air before it hits your lungs. It saves calories, saves water, and protects your respiratory system. Number 8. The spruce floor insulation. You have a tarp over your head. You think you are safe. You lay down on the snow to sleep. The conduction trap. The ground is an infinite heat sink. It is colder than the air, and it is denser. It will suck the heat out of your kidneys and spine faster than you can generate it. You can have a high-end sleeping bag, but if you lay it on the snow, you will reach the critical limit. The pro solution: you need a spruce floor. Forget the roof for a second, worry about the floor. Cut pine boughs, gather gear, use your empty backpack. You need to build a mattress at least 1 foot thick of compressed organic material. You need to lift your body off the earth. If you don't have a sleeping pad, this debris pile is the only thing keeping your blood liquid. Insulate below first, above second. This rule is crucial, but in rule number 10, we are going to break it in a specific, calculated way. Number 9. The contrast signaling. The storm breaks for an hour. The rescue plane is overhead. They look down, but they don't see you. The visual problem: you are wearing a gray jacket. Your tent is green. The world is white. You are invisible. Search and rescue pilots call this spotting a flea on a marshmallow. The pro solution: you need contrast. Nature does not create straight lines or perfect geometry. Take your orange sleeping pad, your blue tarp, or black trash bags. Lay them out on the snow in a large X or V pattern. Tromp down the snow around them to create shadows. Geometric shapes scream human to the eye of a pilot. Make yourself impossible to ignore. Number 10. The snow burial intentional immersion. This is the grand finale. This is the tactic of last resort when you have no tent, no tarp, and the wind chill is dropping to minus 50. The concept: wind chill strips heat, snow insulates. If you cannot get out of the wind, you must get under the snow. The science: reality, snow is 90% air. It is a fantastic insulator. The temperature inside a snowdrift is usually around 32 degrees Fahrenheit, no matter how cold it is outside. The pro solution: find a deep drift or a tree well. Dig a trench. Lay down your waterproof bivy sack or wrap yourself in a tarp dock in, and then let the snow cover you. The trap: you are essentially burying yourself. The danger is oxygen deprivation. Before you settle, you must carve out a large air pocket in front of your face. You must keep a breathing channel open to the surface. If you panic and thrash, you destroy the air pocket. If you stay calm, the snow acts like a heavy wool blanket, protecting you from the wind that would otherwise end your story in minutes. It is terrifying, it is claustrophobic, but it is warm. A blizzard demands respect. Follow these rules and you can survive the white room. In the next video, we will dive deep into fire starting in wet conditions. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Stay warm and stay safe.